I know I may not have the numbers to show for it, but I've been making content on YouTube for 10 years now. That's like forever in internet time. What started off as just one guy making gaming videos has turned into... No, wait, it's still that. It certainly isn't easy to make content on YouTube, much less good content, especially if you're just one guy. And it becomes a little bit more difficult when your life is constantly full of ups and downs and some pretty harsh downs. I love creating things for people to enjoy, whether it's YouTube videos or Twitch streams or my PowerMaster video games. All I want to do is just create. But I'm sure most of you are wondering, who is this guy? Who is this handsome man that showed up in my YouTube recommends as he's slowly crawling his way to a monetizable amount of subscribers? Hello everyone, my name is Alex, and this is my past, present, and future on YouTube. And just life in general. The first video I uploaded was on October 15th, 2015, which was 10 years ago from today, assuming I got this video out on time. It was a hardcore challenge of The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap, where I limited myself to just 3 hearts, used no fairies, and if I died at any point, the run ended. I got a lot farther in that challenge than I thought I would, ultimately ending at the Temple of Droplets, which is the 4th dungeon out of 6, and succumbing to the boss of the dungeon. But of course I didn't just wake up one morning and go, "Hey, I want to make a video!" Things had to lead up to that, and it all started in 2013. Following a rather depressing year of a string of losses in my family, 2013 was kind of just nothing. I didn't know what I wanted to do with my life, and bad health concerns limited what I was able to do. I didn't have much of an internet presence back then, I barely used it at all. But I did have my Nintendo 3DS and a Wii, both of which I spent a great deal of time on, particularly Fire Emblem Awakening, Caddicarus Uprising, and Mario Kart Wii. These games all meant a lot to me, but Mario Kart Wii specifically, I spent a great deal of time online. I played it all the way up until Nintendo shut down the Wi-Fi connection in May of 2014. However, the later years of the online community ended up being plagued with many cheaters. I was frequently met with people hacking in repeated blue shells or bullet bills, or people who were completing races in under a second, which made winning impossible. Because of this, I didn't really see hacking in video games as all that great, not even with our own personal devices like a Game Genie or DS2 or whatever. I saw hacking as a problem. That is, until November of 2013, when my brother walked into our room to show me something.
Hey!
Yeah?
Got something to show you.
What is it?
It's about a guy hacking the game Wind Waker. Hacking.
Of course, I was pretty skeptical of this. I didn't really use YouTube a whole lot, I didn't even have an account made. Wind Waker was also one of my favorite Zelda games, and the last thing I wanted to see was some guy on the internet ruin it. But I gave it a shot and was greeted with this.
Hey everybody, I'm PeanutButterGamer and welcome to the 3rd annual Zelda Month!
Back then, I didn't think YouTube was all that great. The most I watched at that point were the then newly recent Nintendo Direct broadcasts, and that was kind of it. But this guy, this one video from PeanutButterGamer changed all of that. He was joking around and showing personal footage of a game I enjoyed, something I didn't even know you could do. And he did, indeed, completely ruin it. Why? Because this. It's funny. PBG showed me there was a more creative and personal side to YouTube, and going into 2014 and watching his other videos, I eventually decided, hey, I want to do that. But how? 2014 just kind of came and went. I can't really think of anything major that happened that year. But I did decide to get more involved with the internet side of things, so I created an account on the Super Mario Wiki in January of 2014. I called this account Alex95, because my name is Alex, and I was born in 1995. Real creative, I know. I didn't really do anything with this account for the first year, but the community quickly became very important to me. In 2017, I was promoted to a patroller so I can take care of vandals and the like, and in 2018, I was promoted to an administrator so I can take care of the wiki's pages. 2018 also saw a rise of activity for me across the Nintendo Independent Wiki Alliance, or NIWA, mainly due to the announcement of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate at E3 that year. I quickly became a staff member for various wikis based on the Nintendo franchises in that group, such as those for Star Fox, F-Zero, and Caddicarus. Is any of this important to YouTube? Yeah, don't worry, it will be. 2015 quickly approached and I still had no idea what I wanted to do. I had made a YouTube account by this point, but I didn't know what to do with it. I forget exactly when I found out, but I noticed PeanutButterGamer had a second, now defunct channel called PBG Gameplay. On this channel, he showed his personal game playthroughs, one of his most popular series being Minecraft Hardcore. This series showed PBG and a group of his friends trying to survive in a regular game of Minecraft, with the only self-imposed role being if you died, you're dead for good. This was the first time I've seen anyone use personal roles to change the way they play a game. I had played Minecraft before myself, but I mainly stuck to creative mode. I thought this was really interesting and something I wanted to try out. But I had maybe one friend around me that played Minecraft outside of my brothers, and the version I had was on our Xbox 360, so I had no way to record any footage of that. So that idea died quickly, but 2015 also saw the start of another PvG gameplay series, Pokemon Alpha Sapphire Nuzlocke. I've never heard of a Pokemon Nuzlocke before this, and I started to wonder if there were other games we could make custom role sets for. Could I just make my own roles with any game I wanted? I had a copy of Pokemon Omega Ruby I did a Nuzlocke for, but had no way to record it. It was my first challenge run ever, and I got to the end of the game with only one Pokemon remaining. If you want to know more about my personal history of Pokemon itself, there's a link to an older video I made down below. Anyway, after my own Nuzlocke run, I started thinking what else I could do. More specifically, what could I show from my computer? After doing some research on what I needed to record and how to upload to YouTube, I made an account then named Hardcore Alex, fired up OBS and a Game Boy Advance emulator because I couldn't afford a capture card, and started making my first YouTube video.
Hello everyone, welcome to my brand new YouTube channel.
And it sucked. I was working with a shoddy microphone at the time, my sense of humor hasn't fully developed, and my editing software was barely functional. The video was in fact so bad that it only just recently, in the past year, hit over 100 views. Thanks fellas. Making this hardcore series of the Minish Cap and the series that followed was actually a bit of a struggle for me. But I kept up with it because I didn't have anything better to do. After finishing series based on the Minish Cap, Fire Emblem the Sacred Stones, and Pokemon Ruby, I came to realize I have no idea what I'm doing. 2016 was mainly me uploading random Super Smash Bros. For Wii U battles that I had saved to my system, and not much else. One of these videos remained my most viewed video for about 8 years until the Tingle Tuner video I made this year came along. But 2016 did see the release of my first video game I was working on, Power Master 1 A Strange Journey, which I made with the RPG Maker VX Ace program. It's a simple RPG adventure following Stefan and others as they work to collect gems. While it was fine as a first project, it could have been a lot better. So I'm currently remaking it in the RPG Maker MV engine, with original assets, an improved story and gameplay experience, and more characters to play as. Please look forward to it. I'm hoping to get it released by the end of next year, but there is a demo you can play right now. Link to that in the description below. By September of 2017, I had finally found a capture card, though it only worked with AVI input. This allowed me to record gameplay from a physical game, and I chose Super Mario 64 to be my first hardcore challenge with a legitimate version. I had a good time with it, and it ended up being my first challenge on YouTube that I was able to complete. But I was still having microphone and editing issues, and the capture card I was using wasn't great quality. I did some further testing with GameCube titles Metroid Prime and F-Zero GX, but I just couldn't get things working right. 2017 also saw me starting work with the internet group tied to Niwa called Grifkuba, which my responsibilities grew to be managing some of the wiki site's coding backend and managing the group's finance. Again, this will be relevant. In October of 2018, I decided to try my hand at a different form of media, streaming. I made a Twitch account back in August of 2017, but I didn't really know what to do with it at that point. So after playing a bunch of Nintendo games from our YouTube channel, I decided my Twitch channel should start with Tonic Trouble. Yeah, we owned this Nintendo 64 game for about 15 years at this point, but I never beat it. So the Twitch stream allowed me to actually finish it this time, and I'm never going to go back to it. 2019 saw a few videos, but nothing substantial. At this point, I wasn't feeling too confident in my abilities as a content creator. I was frequently held back by poor health issues, wacky schedules, and we now had 3 dogs to take care of. And I also couldn't find the right equipment to make content with. Nothing I did was working. Since 2013, I was applying to whatever jobs I could find, though my pool was a bit limited as I was on Social Security income from 2014 to 2024, which limited the amount of jobs and hours I could work. I've gotten so many rejection letters over the past now 12 years, if I even heard back anything at all. It's a bit disheartening. 2020 ultimately rolled around, and I knew I had to do better. I needed to make a plan, and I made one. I planned on going out more, I planned on working out more, planned on getting a job, planned on getting a car, planned on hanging out more with friends. This was going to be my year. I don't think I need to explain just how disastrous the year 2020 was for most people. President Trump announced a lockdown for America, and most of the world was either already in that or followed suit. It was a very difficult time. People lost their jobs, people lost their homes, people lost their lives for one reason or another. I personally was not affected too much as I was kind of stuck at home anyway. I had just bought my first Nintendo Switch right before the lockdown, so that carried 2020 for me. But ultimately, any plans I had set for myself just didn't happen. That is until the end of 2020 when I got the call to move into an apartment I could afford with my Social Security income. Now that I was on my own, I could focus more on myself. The world was still very much in lockdown, but with the income I was making from Grifkuba and what I had remaining after paying my bills, I was able to do things like build a new computer, which I'm still using, buy a properly functioning HDMI capture card, and start with content creation again. In February of 2021, everything fell into place, and I was able to start working on myself again. By April of 2021, within the last 5 months, I was able to build a new computer, start streaming again, and even got a car that worked well enough. By the end of the month, I even got a girlfriend. Things were going great. And then it all fell apart. In August of 2021, my girlfriend said she needed some help paying off a traffic ticket she had. I had some funds left over from paying bills and whatever, so I helped her out with it. No problem there. Everything was fine. But then she asked for help again. What followed was a long string of events of us requesting financial aid from people within Niwa, Grifkuba, and close friends and family members. Ultimately, it became too complicated to focus on YouTube during all this, so I ended up just having to drop it entirely. I didn't know this at first, but my girlfriend ended up being very abusive and was frequently making up stories and manipulating people, including myself, into giving up money for her. Ultimately, it all went into things like gambling and shopping addictions. Anytime I tried to stop her or offer alternatives, this resulted in her making threats, physically abusing me, or taking over my accounts to just manipulate people herself. I felt like I was drowning and couldn't keep my head above the water. I tried to stick with things as best as I can because I wanted to try to fix things between her and I, and between me and my friends, but she was also repeatedly threatening to leave or spend with whatever money that she had. Unfortunately, none of it was real. All the situations she was in, all the money she said she had, even our own marriage, none of it was real. It was a mix of me being worried about her and my friends, and her frequently manipulating me and my friends. Because of all this, I was ultimately banned and removed from most of Niwa and Grifkuba communities, which I don't have a problem with. That was the best thing they could do at their time to keep themselves safe. I tried to resolve whatever I could from my end, selling off most of my game collection that I had built off over the past 2 decades, but it was all for nothing. This relationship of ours lasted 2 years, from April of 2021 to April of 2023, where I was ultimately placed in a situation where I had to come to a very difficult decision. Either continue living in this hell, or start all over again. It was not an easy conclusion to come to, but ultimately, starting all over again was the only choice to go with. I have since moved back in with my parents, trying to do what I can to work things back up and get things moving again, but I'm still in the same place as I was before. Nowhere. Job hunting has still not been fruitful outside of one contractor job I had this last fall, which I was able to use to pay off some things. I also ended up getting this dog Tucker in the middle of this whole relationship, which I've just been taking care of this entire time. I cannot see myself separating from him. He's been through just as much abuse as I have. Which means, that means we had 4 dogs to take care of in this house, up until January of 2024, when our oldest dog, Brooks, had passed away at the start of the month. I'm still stuck in a bit of a rut, but I'm not doing nothing, either. November of 2023 saw the return of content creation on YouTube, and the start of a whole new channel I created called Gamer. This channel was meant for more scripted essay videos, and was named after the set tile that I had in my Pokemon Omega Ruby and the Pokemon Ruby video series that I did. Pokemon Omega Ruby was one of my favorite 3DS games, and I ended up selling it along with the rest of the collection. So this was sort of like a way to keep that connection alive. Unfortunately, I had to disband the channel because of time constraints with the contractor job I mentioned before. And so I just kind of merged Gamer and Alex95 into the YouTube channel that it is right now. Which was fine because this current Alex95 channel is not doing all that great either, and I can't really split focus between 2 channels like that right now. June of 2024 also saw the return of my streaming, with the release of the Nintendo Switch version of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, and I've been keeping YouTube and Twitch alive ever since. Definitely go follow me. these past 5 years especially have been really tough. From an abusive relationship and a loss of friends, to me trying to build things back up to the way they were before and trying to fix things. And that is where my script ends for right now. This next little bit is going to be a very decisive matter of whether I get this job that I applied for, which will impact the way I handle content creation moving forward. So I will record some more at a later date with a proper update. Alright, I'm not going to bother setting up all the equipment for this. This is an unscripted part, so I don't want to set up the camera and everything like that. Unfortunately, I did not get the job I applied for. It's a job that I had experience with last year as a contractor, but unfortunately, despite repeatedly being told that they would love to have me back and applying there 3 times, they turned me down every time. I feel like I've applied to just about every job at this point. It's like I've been turned down so many times, it's very... I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I'm trying my hardest to get out of this financial debt that I've been put into, but unfortunately nothing seems to be working. So I'm just going to put what I have into my content creation, be that YouTube, Twitch, PowerMaster, do what I can out of that, try and grow a bit more. By the time this video is up, I would have already adjusted my stream schedule to be streaming more Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays during the day, instead of late at night. When you're streaming in Pacific time zone, you don't want to be too late at night, because otherwise everyone's going to be asleep, or very early in the morning, so it's like no one's going to watch. I know I've had my YouTube channel for 10 years at this point, and I've only just recently crossed 300 subscribers, which is cool, thanks for that, but not exactly where I was wanting to be with it. So I'm really hoping to grow a bit more. So if you are watching this video, do subscribe and follow me on Twitch. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Join my Discord. There's links to everything that I do down in the description below of both YouTube and Twitch. And yeah, I still have more content on the way, so definitely stick around. And here's to another 10 years, I suppose. If anything else changes, I'll definitely let you guys know. But for right now, thank you all so much for watching. Until next time, my name is Alex. I will see you around.